Всем привет, дорогие друзья, это Хаузер, и это уже третья серия Little Orpheus. Пятый эпизод под волнами молебки. Молебки, очень странное название. Ну, давайте посмотрим, что это за молебка и что там у него за волны.
I thought I was doomed. But a miraculous thing happened, General. I could breathe. It must have been the helmet that was jammed onto my head. It was a strange and remarkable thing.
Some might almost say beyond belief.
A narrow-minded fool may indeed, General. But of course, you are no Durak. But even as I sank towards the floor of that lost ocean, my journey was about to take me to darker, stranger territory than ever before. And it happened like this.
Знаете, как в меме, очень удобно шлем попал в тот момент, когда наш главный герой провалился под воду. На самом деле, кстати, прикольно сделано. Видите, соответственно, меньше весит тело под водой, да? Как в невесомости, поэтому у нас прыжки космические прям. Молебка — это что? Это получится море какое-то?
Let me see if I have this correctly. After narrowly failing to apprehend the mad missing explorer Toll and recapture my atomic bomb in your giant snowball, you fell through thin ice and sank to the bottom of a subterranean ocean, discovering along the way that the mind control helmet you had accidentally wedged onto your head enabled you to breathe underwater and resume your pursuit across the seabed.
Да, генерал прикольно подмечает то, что... То есть ты мне хочешь сказать, Иван Иваныч, что шлем, который управляет мыслями, внезапно тебе помог дышать под водой. Какие-то стечения обстоятельств прям странные. Причем вода должна быть холодная. Холодная.
General, you seem perplexed.
Perplexed? Perplexed is that the keys to my house are not where I left them. Perplexed is the fact my dog will not eat cheese like other dogs. No, Ivan Ivanovich, I am not perplexed.
Ой. Так, ну внизу электричество. И здесь. А чего делать-то? Надо просто не попасть под эти. И докоснуться. Я понял.
Intrigued then, perhaps.
I'm not sure intrigued is the correct term either. Enraged at being taken for a simpleton. Now that, perhaps, is a better way of describing my current state of mind.
Какие-то коньки большие, морские. Прикольно.
unfortunate, General.
Once again, Comrade Privalov, I must correct you. Unfortunate is losing one's car in a snowstorm. Unfortunate is booking opera tickets on your wife's birthday and getting the date wrong.
Oh, was she furious?
That is not the issue! Furious. However, now that is a good word.
I could speak with your wife. Would that help? I could always have a word with her if you like.
I could always have you shot.
Oh, you could, but I suspect she would appreciate the gesture less.
Ой, мы в пузырик можем. Ага. То есть нужно маневрировать. Я понял, понял. Так, ну. Ясно. Ну, я думаю, мы сможем перепрыгнуть с такой механикой. Блин, напоминает мне уровень, по-моему, червяк Джим. Кто в теме, кто играл на Сеге в свое время, по-моему, что-то подобное какой-то был подводный уровень, там тоже какие-то пузыри можно было. Блин, червяка Джима переиграл бы с удовольствием. Что это за корабль такой?
A kraken.
А, это
A
кракен.
vast monster of the sea. A giant, humongous, many-armed electrical destroyer of ships and cities.
Electrical?
Electricity flowed along its horrible body, sparking and stunning all it touched, flowing like deadly rivers along its awful tentacles.
Так, Иван Иванович. Погнали. Блин, вот такие прыжки, конечно, приятно управляются.
A sobering discovery. Are you suggesting that the vessel simply wandered off course and sank here? That seems unlikely even by your standards.
No, General, I only wish that were true. The mighty ship showed terrible scars, signs of having been grappled and torn asunder by some huge and terrible adversary.
That is indeed strange and curious. I'm troubled by this discovery.
Might you almost be perplexed, perhaps?
Don't push your luck.
И подводные мины здесь даже есть. Там вдалеке на цепи виднеется. Какие-то буйки затонувшие. Или не буйки, что-то такое непонятное. Так, что это нам дает? Зачем ты в другую сторону крутишь? Верни обратно. Спасибо. Зацеплюсь, зацеплюсь. Зацепился. Так. Ну, наверное, ракушку нужно открыть. Она пузырик. Пузырики будет выпускать, а нет? поднимемся с вами. Тихо, 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 тихо. Ай. И чего? Обратно мне придется прыгать теперь? Короче, нужно наверх подняться как-то. Так, 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 так. Так, так. Ну, а почему ты вверх не поднимаешься? А, это и не надо делать. Ага, включили. Определенно, это детская, конечно, игра. Я взрослый дядька ее прохожу, но довольно все равно забавно.
I was stationed at Sredny Ostrov some years ago. I am only too aware of how easy it is for the imagination to create monsters when one is exposed to lonely and dark places. My men required constant monitoring.
Much like my cousin Pavel.
He was also stationed at Ostrov?
No, he required constant monitoring. He was a devil for stealing eggs.
Ничего себе, тут сундуки с золотом. Ого. Что-то Иван Иванович никак не реагирует. Ему вообще по барабану.
I was referring to the fear that something is lurking in the...
Так, секунду. Куда мне надо проскочить?
I was referring to the fear that something is lurking in the darkness. Something strange, brutish, and ill-intentioned.
Again, that sounds much like my cousin Pavel.
Так, поворачиваем сюда. Ага, теперь делаем пузырик. Так. Движемся вперед. Мой cousin Павел. Ух ты, медузки. Дайте угадаю. Мы заходим в дверь, и будет черный экран. Интересно. Половина игры у нас пройдена с вами.
I was being hunted. There was no doubt about it. And escape was all I could think about.
Naturally.
That and duty.
Duty?
Yes, General. After all, I had a bomb to recover from that villain Toll.
How clever of you to remember that.
Duty. Так, пузырик. Пузырик. Так. Так. Можно сразу сюда выплыть? Спасибо. за какие-то полипы? Кракен проплыл. Иван Иванович, спокойно.
But first, there was the issue of escape. Escape from a dreadful, grasping creature that consumed all it could reach, dragging anything that wandered within its clutches to a miserable doom. A hoarder of useless trophies and stolen goods.
Once again, Tavarish, I suspect you are pursuing a somewhat tortuous metaphor for capitalism, in the misguided hope of appealing to my political ideals.
На фоне тоже какие-то статуи разрушенные. Так, спокойно, Кракен, не надо.
I was like a mouse, General. A little mouse being toyed with by a terrible cat.
Rather a wet mouse.
I was like a little underwater mouse.
Being stalked by a giant rubbery electrical cat with
Underwater
8
mouse.
tentacles.
Exactly, General.
Good, I'm glad we cleared that up. You may continue.
Блин, такая большая игра, достаточно длительная по времени. На мобилках. Это прям интересно. Так, что, мы проскочим? Что-то не уверен. Ну, давай попробуем. Ай, 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 ай. Не, нормально, не ай. Так. Так. Ракушка. Открываем. Кракен, не надо. I'm little underwater. Ой, little underwater. Underwater mouse. Иван Иванович, открой, пожалуйста. Так, я не знаю, туда мы вроде бы заходим и что-то... Может быть, нам в эту сторону надо? Давайте проплывем. А, нет, тут ничего нет. Кроме смерти. Так. Вот пузыри здесь идут. Давай, поднимай меня, пожалуйста. Вот. Иван Иванович вообще угорает.
Submarines. You didn't mention submarines before.
Didn't I? Why? No, наверное, General, of course. Submarines, millions of them. Several, at least.
Прям минное поле.
Any particular submarines? Did you see names, numbers?
General, have you lost a submarine?
I am not at liberty to answer that question, as you well know.
Well, General, losing one's car in a snowstorm is unfortunate, as you say. But to lose a whole submarine, that could be considered careless.
Да. Если подлодку теряешь, это безответственно уж точно. За потерю подлодки в Советском Союзе можно и присесть. Как она сюда попала? Вопрос.
And you are certain it was M256?
Well, that was painted on the hull, so I can only assume so.
I think I know where this dismal story is going next. You somehow miraculously brought the remaining closed cycle engine online, flooded the torpedo tubes, dispatched the Kraken with one shot, and triumphantly surfaced.
No, General, that is not what happened at all. I did indeed make my way to the torpedo tubes, but for a very different purpose. After all, history has taught us that atomic power is not to be toyed with.
Much like tired, impatient generals, perhaps. Particularly the perplexed ones.
Indeed, General. Or like dogs that will eat no cheese.
Хочет-то юлит Иван Иваныч. Такой, нет, это на самом деле не так было, но действительно я до торпедного отсека добрался. Кракен, не надо, пожалуйста. Он щупальца сюда засунул. Валим. Валим. Прыжок. Подкат. Прыжок. Ничего не видно. Прыжок. Прыжок. Кнопка. В торпеде спрячемся. Класс. Ай, короче, на торпеде спасемся.
Will our determined yet disorientated hero end his days as socialist sushi? Will his daring exploits be cut tragically short by vengeful calamari? Will the general's wife ever forgive him for missing Ruslan and Lyudmila? And just how many eggs did Pavel steal, and where did he keep them? All of these questions and more may or may not be answered in the next exciting episode of Little Orpheus!
Так, хорошо, окей. Подводная, под волнами молебки. Да хорошо, спасибо, не надо. Загадка Лемурии. Загадка Лемурии. Так, это что-то какое-то космическое. Здесь какие-то механизмы. Здесь вообще какой-то принц Персия начинается. Так, давайте загадку Лемурии посмотрим. 6-й эпизод у нас, ребят.
I was alive, General. Somehow, miraculously, I was alive. Some twist of fate, some hand of destiny, but I was alive. Strange as this new world was, I knew Thor must have come this way, and it was my task to find him. And it happened like this.
Блин. Каким образом он попал сюда?
The sun beat down on me relentlessly. The heat was unbearable. I was exhausted. Yet I could not stop. I had to go on. For 7 weeks I trudged across the desert. On the second day...
Please, comrade, if we may. I think we can skip the details, unless you consider them to be particularly relevant to the location of Little Orpheus.
Of course, General. We will simply omit the tale of the singing chasm, the oasis of mirrors, the sightings of Tol's Mienk aloft on their pterodactyls carrying parts of my crashed rocket drill over the horizon to Lemuria.
Wait, the what?
Singing chasm?
Not that, but the rocket drill.
Oh yes, General, the rocket drill. But what did Tol want with it? And why Lemuria?
Lemuria?
Lemuria, General.
I am not familiar with this Lemuria, comrade.
Well, that is because it does not exist, General. Or at least, so I thought.
Что за Лемурия? Так, погнали. Мне вот не терпится узнать, чем все закончится. Ставлю на то, что это все просто вымысел. Так. Интересно. Блин, что-то мне в последнее время все напоминает принц Персии.
Strange crystals seem to exert an extraordinary hold over the stone blocks and arches. When they hummed, the whole city remade itself. Whereas they were missing, clearly looted by some villainous thief, the city was fallen to ruin. It was like a vast musical instrument, vandalized, and yet still attempting to toot.
Что-то еще восстановим.
How poetic. I am sure our engineers would be fascinated and baffled in equal measure. If the whole department hadn't been arrested for sedition last week, I would happily convey it to their skeptical ears.
Sedition, General? Really?
Что? Что такое?
Poetic. I am sure our engineers would be fascinated and baffled in equal measure.
А, я сломал.
If the whole department hadn't been
быстрее
arrested
давай
for
быстрее,
sedition last week,
быстрее,
I would
быстрее,
happily
быстрее,
convey it to their skeptical ears.
Sedition?
How poetic.
Так, не
I'm
успеваем.
sure our engineers would be fascinated and baffled in equal measure. If the whole department hadn't been arrested for sedition last week, I would happily convey it to their skeptical ears.
Sedition, General?
А, все, понял.
Really?
Мы бы по-любому первый раз не
Unfortunate
успели.
news indeed.
I am joking.
А что, я не могу поднять теперь? Так. Я понял. И птеродактили здесь. Интересно, будет какой-нибудь босс-файт в конце против Толя, против барона фон Толя. Так, сразу вижу, что ящик можно взять. что такое? Что ты все отрываешь, Иван Иванович? Ё-моё! А, все, я увидел. Он, когда поднимает, он закрывает его обзор. Мы должны здесь проскочить. Проскочили. Ушли в черный экран.
Oh, yes. The Mank for here, all right. Which meant whatever dastardly scheme Toll had, it was to be enacted on these burning sands.
And you will explain this in due course, I imagine.
Eminently, General. What you need to know first is this. I have told you already how parts of the devices the enslaved Mienk were forced to wear came from the surface.
Radio parts and so on, yes, from what you have told me. Assuming there were plenty of lost ships in the ocean as you claim, for Toll to have dredged up what he needed to assemble them.
Aha, good. You are one step ahead of me, General.
I said assuming.
Of course, assuming. Now, as I gazed in awe at the buildings rising and falling around me, I realized that the other major component of those mind-controlling helmets was crystal. Toll had raided Lemuria for it. He knew the city. He knew the crystals could amplify vibrations and waves, and was using them to boost the signal of the radio parts to exert his control over the Memph. Which meant...
Так, то есть, типа, мы будем менквами управлять с помощью кристалла. Заберись.
Yes?
Imagine, General, what such amplification could achieve when fused to the finest atomic science our great Soviet civilization has produced.
Wait! I do not understand. You said Toll was planning on using the bomb to shatter the Earth's crust to return to the surface.
A tragic mistake, General. They had not recognized the extent of his mad ambitions.
You mean to imply Toll would have attempted to enslave the Russian people? Pah! The will of the Soviet citizen is mighty and strong.
To you, perhaps, as a trained warrior. But consider, perhaps instead, a humble son of a toy maker from Tomsk.
Ah, yes. Perhaps we have our share of simpletons, after all.
Рано я в катсцену, да, забежал, что звук пошел, субтитров не было. Там что-то вроде говорил, я так понял, что фон Доль захотел поработить умы русских, что ли. Так, давай быстрее. Прячемся. Обратно надо мне, да, идти? Можно прорашить? Пожалуйста, вперед, вперед, пожалуйста, быстрее, 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 быстрее. Отлично. Так. 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 Еще немножко так.
The vast pictograms told of a history of wonders. They seem to suggest the Lemurians were travelers from another world, where a mysterious clock seemed to stand.
That is very mysterious. As mysterious as the location of Little Orpheus, perhaps.
Ah, yes, of course, General. I am just getting to that.
Сколько у генерала терпения вот это вот все выслушивать. Так, ладно. Через верх пройти. Так, спускаемся вниз. Надо ли? Наверное, надо. Вон этот тут стоит. Ну. Ага. Так. Ага. Ну, понятно. В принципе, это было несложно.
As I bravely explored that ancient city, a question was gnawing at my mind. What did it mean that the Lemurians had foreseen the coming of Tol? And who was the man from above that was celebrated as the savior of the Myenf? It was almost as if they could read the future in their crystals.
И по рассказу Ивана Ивановича спасителем будет именно, наверное, он. Ладно. Так, дверь, черный экран, загрузка.
The bells of Lemuria tolled and tolled, a roaring symphony, a crescendo of peals that set the city dancing, each note causing the crystals to shimmer and cascade with light. But the sandstorm was no natural phenomenon, and the bells did not ring for celebration. Something was very wrong here.
Aside from the pterodactyls and the Megv and the dancing stones and the ancient magical prophecies and the crystals and now the giant bells, you mean?
If you don't want me to continue, General, then I can easily just quietly go home.
Don't think Chepucha will get you out of this one, comrade.
Слышали, да, как я сказал, чепуха, чепуча какая-то. Чепуча. Так, shift. Ну, Иван Иванович не выжил. Shift. Не надо. Похоже на купола собора Василия Блаженного с чем-то. Ну, это же, конечно, что-то арабское здесь. Shift. Вон еще один на меня летит. Твар. Контрол. Так, что тут за кулак какой-то? Боже мой. успею? Я не успеваю, или что мне нужно сделать? А, наверное, вот здесь остаться, да? А, все, понял. Прикольно. Это прикольно. Тут прям два колокола катаются. Подскочи.
I raced through those magical structures, a righteous fire in my heart. I was like Dobrynya Nikitsch, prepared to strike at the dragon who threatened my homeland.
Your heroism is only surpassed by your modesty.
On the contrary, General, I chose Dobrynya carefully. Like him, I am a simple peasant. It was fate that chose me to descend to the Earth's core.
It was General Kumanin who chose you to descend to the Earth's core. But don't let that get in the way of your story.
Oh, well then, award General Polkovnik Kumanin the highest medal in the world.
He already has several of those.
I cannot take credit for his wisdom in sending me.
Так, Тарзане. Не надо. Эта локация немножко как бы душноватая, если честно, да. Желтый мерцающий свет прям нагнетает меня, если честно. Купола, птеродактили, колокола. Не надо. Не надо. Не надо. Я поспешил немножко. Так, потарданили дальше. Просто спокойно прыгаем. Это чисто фон, который птеродактили летят, который ни на что не влияет абсолютно. Православненько, конечно, выглядит. Дверь, черный экран, загрузка. Свет прям просто слепит неимоверно. Атомная бомба.
What was once a rocket drill ship, built to burrow into the earth, was now a mighty vessel, repurposed to blast off into the skies.
Так что нужно обезвредить ее. Спокойно. Спокойно. Так. Ага. Сюда. Сюда.
There was no doubt that Toll was headed for the strange world with its clock, although to what end I was yet to understand. But there was no time to consider, no time for questions.
Какие-то камни недовольно так вот шевелятся, скидывают.
Toll was on the rocket. Little Orpheus was on the rocket. And wherever they were headed, I must head there too, to thwart his plans, recover my drill, and save the world!
А, вот он, космос.
Will our enthusiastic yet disorientated hero be burnt to a cinder by the rocket's engines? Will he be smashed into the rock that surely must be beyond the Lemurian skies? Does Nikolai Petrovich Kamenyan really need any more medals? What was the strange clock, and what could it all mean? All of these questions and more will be answered if you're extremely lucky in the next exciting episode of Little Orpheus.
Так, я космос люблю, давайте поехали сразу в космос. Да, хватит мне вот это вот, как навязчивая реклама. Внутриземельный космос. Вот. И как раз на финальную серию нам останется 2 эпизодика. То есть с кислородом там все нормально, да, я понимаю? Окей.
Laika!
Лайка?
Are you stark raving mad?
It was Laika. I am sure of it. That spirited little dog saved me.
Laika saved you in her little space machine.
I believe the correct term is capsule, General.
Don't push your luck any further, Ivan Ivanovich. I fear it might snap.
Oh, my apologies, General. In my excitement to explain what I discovered on the far side of the Metagalacticus Interiores, I got carried away. And it happened like this.
Так, ну, я знаю, что Белка и Стрелка летали в космос, а значит,
A rocky moon.
Лайка была.
It's the center of the earth.
The source of all creation, General. A place where time flowed like rivers, and boulders of raw matter rained like comets upon the cratered rock.
Another miraculous escape from death. Another happy accident.
It was no accident, General. Laika took me there entirely deliberately. I'm sure of that. She continues to be a heroine and a savior and protector of our great nation.
Ну, спасибо, Лайка, конечно. И полетела.
Laika died in orbit.
No, General, she did not. She's very much alive and happy and currently living several miles below our feet.
Laika is dead, Ivan.
She most certainly is not, General.
This is the real world, Tavarish. A world where you did not go to the center of the earth and Laika died in orbit.
In my world, General, Laika is still alive.
A better world, some may argue. Very well. I will live in your world for a while longer, but time is running out.
Ah, yes, time, General. I was just coming to that.
Так, ну, прыжки точно такие же, как в подводном мире, поэтому... Единственное, что
There
мы
in
в
the
космосе.
distance it stood, enveloped in a mighty time storm. The world clock, General. The beating heart of all history. The axis mundi, the pillar of the world.
Not enough to conquer Russia by drilling back to the surface with his magical mind-controlling atomic radio set then.
No, General. You see, what if he could fuse Little Orpheus directly with the world clock? Then his message would radiate with every tick and every tock. He would not simply be the Tsar. He would be the Tsar of all time, the eternal tyrant, the literal incarnation of everything our glorious revolution stood to overthrow.
Каких-то эпичных масштабов просто достигает сюжет. Вот.
Sonikiv!
Uncanny, General. But it was somehow different. I felt no cold. The waves were motionless. Indeed, it was as if I had stepped free of those rivers of time and stood on entirely motionless ground. And there in the distance,
What?
debris from Tsarya and tall slave mines had washed up here, almost as if I were meant to find it. And there, amongst it, the winking of steel led me to a blasting cap, and a plan began to form.
Так, он типа во времени застрял. Фонтоль. Земля Санникова. Морж Сергей. Здравствуйте. Менк, вы там вдалеке. Может, типа какой-то временной парадокс будет. Так, метеоритов еще не было у нас.
The terrain was ferocious. Explosive eruptions of fire and heat.
Ай,
Thunderous emissions and...
я зачитался. Субтитры.
The terrain was ferocious. Explosive eruptions of fire and heat. Thunderous emissions and lethal gases.
Much like your cousin Pavel, perhaps, as a result of consuming all of those stolen eggs.
Ah, General, you have been listening after all.
Так. Это, наверное... Что? Что? Shift. Улетели в космос. Shift. Окей. Прыжок. А там Кремль в временном парадоксе на дальнем плане. Я красиво прыгнул в яму. Я не знал, что она появится. Так, разбилась. Окей, мы прыгаем. Цепляемся. Кстати, вот эти вот платформы, которые взорвутся, они прям видны, они так чуть-чуть выделены. Вот сейчас здесь тоже должна пойти взорваться. Не взорвется. А, не взорвалась все-таки. Вот здесь тоже. Видно, она прям выделена. Так. Если были бы какие-нибудь еще секретики здесь, было бы неплохо уже для игры. А тут чисто прямая такая линия, в которой больше никуда не свернуть. Так, время опять. Сейчас что-то сделает.
Agartha again. But why?
You are stalling, comrade. The clock is ticking.
Tick-tock, tick-tock. Of course. In a flash of inspiration, I understood. It was all wrong, you see, General.
That we can agree on.
We should never have gone to the center, because without Little Orpheus, Toll could not have become the tyrant he had. The rocket drill was his means to reach the world clock, but it was Little Orpheus that enabled him. And the time itself, the world clock itself, was determined to make matters right.
With a little help from you, of course.
Merely a simple pawn in a game played upon a cosmic scale, General. But a pawn who understood that he was being given a second chance to grab a chunk of the explosive resin that wondrous city was built upon.
Не, я не умер. Значит, с этой высоты, когда я упал, я не погиб. А там какой-то серии я прыгнул, ну, прям с маленького расстояния. И... было нормально. Так, ну мы видим отголоски Агаты. Менковые вот в этих ящичках. Кстати, здесь он прыгает по обычному, не как в космосе. Так, еще на какую-то штукенцию нашли. Как будто время восстанавливаем, да?
And I was back. The mighty river of time roared past me, carrying the weight of the whole of history with it.
Even for you, this is a stretch. Our time is almost up. I have to submit my report within the hour.
Time, General. Time was nearly up indeed. That ancient and magical river that carried me along was surely moving inevitably towards some kind of end.
Ой. Так, ну ждем. Проскочили. Какая-то временная река. И она убивает сразу же тебя. Ой, 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 ой. Что это за ключ ехал? Так, стой. Стоять. Shift. Бум.
Enough. No more Privalov. No more stories. No more lost worlds and space dogs. I'm full of it. It is nearly midnight, and you have not given me the adequate explanation for the whereabouts of Little Orpheus and the atomic bomb.
But, General, I am about to tell you what happened when I finally caught up with the villain Toll.
I do not care, Tavarish. I simply do not care. You have worn me down, and it is time to call a halt to this. I bear you no malice, comrade. In many ways, I admire you, but time is running out.
Yes, General, yes. Time. Because it was time itself that suddenly appeared to be on my side.
Так.
Perhaps the world clock was so impressed with your egg-wearing antics, it decided to return you to Plutonia for a second attempt. I would strongly suggest you cut to the chase.
The chase, yes. The pursuit of Toll and Little Orpheus. I stood there with the resin fragment in one hand and the blasting cap in the other, and then, just like that, a clock began to ring.
The world clock?
No, General, an alarm clock. My Slava alarm clock, in fact, given to me by Auntie Marsha.
The one who married the beef investigator.
The very same. And the moment I saw that clock, I knew what I had to do.
Так, что это за часы? Часы славы.
Yes, I'm waiting.
A bomb, General. A bomb to destroy a bomb.
So, you decided to build a bomb, eh? A bomb to destroy Little Orpheus.
It was a simple plan, really, General.
Yes, you are very fond of your simple plans.
Любитель простых планов. Так. А вот он, наверное, да? Маленький Орфей.
It was the last time I was to see those poor enslaved men from my journey. As they scurried in agitation around the base of the rocket drill, now a dreadful weapon of war in the hands of a madman, I was reminded of my mother.
Your mother looked like a nymph? That is extremely disrespectful, comrade.
No, I meant I was raised by my mother from an early age, of course. My childhood memories of my father were all too brief.
You are rambling, comrade Privalov. Time is running out. Dieni Rezinovi.
Не резиновый день.
Time will run out for us all, General, will it not? And it ran out for my father on the shores of Volga.
Your father fought at Stalingrad?
Space.
He did, General.
So did I.
Well, so you see, General. Perhaps we are just the same, you and I. Perhaps we are all just Menkf in the end.
Мы все менк. Что? Так, опять во временном парадоксе. Давайте быстрее
What
найдем.
possible use in the construction of a bomb could be found in the belly of a giant whale? Were you perhaps planning on using a worm as a fuse?
That would be ridiculous, General.
I would hate to undermine your otherwise entirely plausible account.
You forget, General.
Oh,
The belly
Zoya.
of the beast was full of shipwrecks. And on one of them, I was bound to find what I was looking for. Fuse wire.
Comrade, yes, you'd forgotten all about the fuse until I reminded you, hadn't you?
General, your cynicism is unbecoming to a man of your rank and stature.
Так. Подобрали мы последний с вами элемент. Или не последний. Space. Ага. Прыжок. Что я ударился? В камешек, что ли?
The clock was now ticking, General. Literally. I was surrounded by time, immersed in it, floating along a river of it on a raft made of history, seeking the next moment of opportunity to hurtle backwards amongst those lost worlds.
I am a patient man, Tavarish. I lost 3 toes in the winter outside Charkovskaya in 42. A drunken dentist removed 2 frostbitten toes and 1 perfectly healthy one. You may therefore consider me a man blessed with an uncommon level of endurance for discomfort.
I hate visiting the dentist. My uncle Vanya was a dentist, and he was a deeply strange man.
Я зачитался субтитры и совершенно не увидел. Иван Иванович упал. Так. Все.
The clock was now ticking, General.
Сосредоточимся
Literally.
на игре.
I was surrounded by time, immersed in it, floating along a river of it on a raft made of history, seeking the next moment of opportunity to hurtle backwards amongst those lost worlds.
I am a patient man, Tavarish. I lost 3 toes in the winter outside Charkovskaya in 42. A drunken dentist removed 2 frostbitten toes and 1 perfectly healthy one. You may therefore consider me a man blessed with an uncommon level of endurance for discomfort.
I hate visiting the dentist. My uncle Vanya was a dentist, and he was a deeply strange man, notwithstanding the love he felt for his pigs.
Is what?
He was a pig dentist, General. He always claimed that the human mouth presented an insufficient challenge.
Let me challenge you, comrade. You will tell me what happened to Little Orpheus. My patience is exhausted. I am done.
But we are nearly there, General. The world clock was shortly to strike again and transport me... Well, who could guess where?
Так, и куда? И куда? Сюда, наверное, прыгнуть надо. Я думал, это как элемент дальнего фона, а это, оказывается, не элемент дальнего фона. Запрыгивай, пожалуйста, Иван Иванович. Так. Что такое? Нужно ускоряться? Блин. Вот я думал, камень, это на него можно запрыгнуть, а это вот фон. Вот этот сегмент не очень хорошо сделан, я бы сказал. И чуть дальше приходится прыгать. Так, ну сюда же можно запрыгнуть, я надеюсь? Можно. Вот сюда, наверное, можно. А, уровень поднимается, я понимаю. Я понимаю. И что мне делать? Боже мой. Так. Все, быстрее. Ай. Выбрались. Идем к Кремлю.
And so to the ocean floor, and that strange submerged city, and those poor lost vessels. To find a shell case to hold all of my scavenged ingredients, the last piece I needed to construct my bomb.
Ah, yes, I have been waiting for this.
General?
Time, Ivan Ivanovich. Whilst you have rambled on and on about it, I have simply bided mine. I am a patient man, as I have said.
Yes, I don't feel I paid enough attention to the story about your toes. Do you have specially made shoes?
Enough! Now I have your full attention. Indulge me, Tavarish. Explain to me how you made this bomb.
General?
Your bomb, comrade, that you so brilliantly constructed to destroy Little Orpheus. Tell me how you made it.
Well,
In detail. The type of detail that should present no problem to a man who is actually capable of building a bomb, which I suspect would be an entirely different man to one who cheated on his entrance exams for the cosmonaut program.
Но на самом деле вот два последних эпизода таких душноватеньких, прям каких-то. Я уже играю, думаю, уже быстрее бы это все закончилось.
Cat, got your tongue?
if I may, General, perhaps just a minute or two to gather my thoughts?
There are precious few minutes left. We have reached our conclusion, I think.
Yes, we have, General. I gazed up at the world clock and knew I had arrived at my destination. Whatever lay inside would see my journey end one way or another. But I had no idea of the marvels that awaited me. And
The bomb, Ivan Ivanovich! Tell me how you built the bomb!
it was a wonderful sight. The world...
It is 2 minutes to midnight, Ivan. It is time to end this story.
Так, ну, 7-й эпизод пройден, внутриземельный космос. Начинался он, в принципе, неплохо. Вот, потом немножко под конец поддушнил. Вот, мы идем потом в столпы мира и какую-то еще такую локацию, тоже связанную со временем. Короче, да, что что-то будет парадокс какое-то времени, но я думаю, все равно еще настаиваю, что это будет полная брехня от Ивана Иваныча. Поэтому на этой ноте эта серия заканчивается. Желаю всем вам говорить только правду, вот, какая бы она ни была. И всем пока, не забудьте побалдеть под конечную заставку. До свидания.
What do we do with a drunken sailor? What do we do with a drunken sailor? What do we do with a drunken sailor? Early in the morning, way hey, up she rises, way hey, up she rises, way hey, up she rises. Early in the morning, way hey, up she rises, way hey, up she rises, way hey, up she rises. Early in the morning.
Shave his belly with a rusty razor. Shave his belly with a rusty razor. Shave his belly with a rusty razor. Early in the morning.
Way hey, up she rises, way hey, up she rises, way hey, up she rises. Early in the morning. Put him in a longboat till he's sober. Put him in a longboat till he's sober. Put him in a longboat till he's sober. Early in the morning. Way hey, up she rises, way hey, up she rises, way hey, up she rises. Early in the morning. Way hey, up she rises, way hey, up she rises, way hey, up she rises. Early in the morning.
Stick him in a scupper with a hose pipe on him. Stick him in a scupper with a hose pipe on him. Stick him in a scupper with a hose pipe on him. Early in the morning.
Way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises. Early in the morning. Give him a dose of salt and water, give him a dose of salt and water, give him a dose of salt and water. Early in the morning. Way hey, oh way hey, oh way hey, oh early in the morning.
That's what we do with the drunken sailor. That's what we do with the drunken sailor. That's what we do with the drunken sailor. Early in the morning.
Way up she rises, way up she rises, way up she rises.